The Unihertz Luna, a device I've been looking forward to for a long time. I am not shy about my love of RGB products, and this one absolutely fits the bill. I wanted to discuss, obviously, the design right off the top of the video. That's all I see all over the internet. Oh, it's a cheap nothing phone clone and all the rest of it. I want to say that's nonsense. This device should be judged on what it offers, and I wish more manufacturers would take cool ideas and give us their spin on it, because I hate one manufacturer doing something and then us having to wait for their innovation and nobody else being bold enough to try something different. How many clear colored translucent plastics did we see in the 90s after the iMac came out? How many watches have we seen that are homages to the Rolex Submariner dive watches? 100, going back who knows how many years. So I like the fact that Unihertz has taken a stab at what they think is a design and should be on the back of a phone. Also, you can say nothing phone 2. It looks like it's going to have an RGB strip on the back. Were they stealing from Luna? You know, you could go back and forth all day. So to me, that's nonsense. Let's talk about what this phone provides. Number one, it's the most premium Unihertz design that I've ever felt. Glass front and back, which feels fantastic, and a metal frame, so it's absolutely solid. That comes at a cost of weight. It's a beefy boy. It's a chunky phone, nearly 300 grams. So that's 2/3 of a pound. It's a commitment in the pocket. But you do get that premium feel, and you do notice it. And there's a lot of lighting going on here. Let's talk about the lighting, too, because it's not just a gimmick. They have it modeled after their ancient philosophy of round sky, so there is a reason why the configuration is what it is. We're going to go ahead and load it up. There is a mode where you could just have it going crazy all the time, and this is what the different patterns look like that you could have on the phone. But it's not a useless feature. It's not a feature for the sake of cosmetics. When I handed this to people, there were a few elderly people I handed this to, hard of hearing. They said, this would be great. You set this down on a table. You don't have to have it facing up, and you could know when you're getting a notification or when you're getting a phone call. There's lots of things like that. Unihertz, as they always do, will turn that off. And like we've seen with the keyboard phone offerings, they just don't give you, oh, here's the stock Android 12, deal with it, figure out how to use the features on your own. They always customize a little bit to give you access to things like the keyboard, and in this case, to things like the LEDs. If you'll see, this widget is on there by default. It is the LED widget. You don't want them on, you can go ahead and turn the whole smat off right there. Put it back on. You can tell whether it's going with your music. It syncs up with your music. You can turn that on and off. Notifications, you can turn that on and off. You can just have it on all the time if you want. It'll display different colors every time you cycle it. When you get a phone call, that should turn on and off. And you got the settings to them right there at the top on the home screen. I love being able to just tap in and get the settings. Incoming calls you could show, patterns, you could do random. There's different patterns that you can have there, and you can change the colors as well. Ambient light, which is where you could just have it cycling the entire time. That still change with the main color on the display. So it's like your LED television that have those backlighting things. When you're watching a show that's a certain color, it'll project that color. It does something similar here. The other thing is it's charging reminder. This is really neat as well. The color on the last little ring section on the back will change depending on the percentage charge of your phone. 0 to 15% is going to show red, 15 to 90 is going to show yellow, and the 90 to 100 is going to show green, that you're all set to go. I really like that. It's a really nice premium feel. And this is the thing with devices in this price range. $299. Link will be in the description. You might be saying, well, why don't I pick up a Pixel 6a for that money? That's a perfectly valid opinion. If you're looking for just raw performance and all the rest that Google gives you, that's something that you could look at. But in this price range, I like that there's some differentiated products here. Not everything can be the same. Not everybody has to be the same. If you're looking for something different, something a little bit more colorful, but they'll still get the job done, then this is a phone for you. And that's why I wanted to talk about performance. The day-to-day tasks that we do, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Chrome, the demand and the load on the processor for those hasn't really changed that much in the last 3 or 4 years. So the processing power that we need to use those properly has not really changed or gone up that much to where it has to keep pace with today's modern processors. So that allows people like Unihertz to put a cost-efficient chip in there, like the Helio G99, which was in the tank, which performance is great, by the way, no problems. You got a huge 6.8-inch 1080p display with 0 issues. I love that. But everything just works fine. So the fact that they could put a processor like a G99 in there, still give you the performance you need on a daily basis that is kind of on par with a budget device. They get to spend that extra time and money on things like the design, the RGB, the different things that they could put into it to make it unique. And to me, that's cool. And you're seeing that a lot with these budget devices because the power is there at a lower price point to cover our daily needs without having to go nuts. So back in the day, budget phones had to spend basically all of their money on getting you the best processor that they could. They would scrimp on screen, build quality, any cost that they could cut to make sure you had enough power to run the thing, they would do. Don't have to do that anymore on budget phones, which is why it's pretty cool. Side-mounted fingerprint sensor works fine, no problem. Face unlock is blazing fast. No issues there. Also aiding the performance, the nice performance of the device, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Once it loads up, runs fine. 4G, of course. You're limited there if the 5G is important to you. Android 12 is another thing. Unihertz kind of moves as a whole, as a company. It's not like one phone gets 13, the other ones stay on 12, or one's on 11, something like that. When the company as a whole gets Android 13 set to go, they kind of update all the devices. So this one's on Android 12, so updates are going to be a little spotty there, not every month or quarter for certain. Battery, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, 18-watt charger in the box. So not the fastest charging in the world, no wireless charge, but that 5,000 milliamp hour battery lasted me all day and then some. At least 6 hours of screen on time, depending on how nuts you go with the RGB lighting on the back, which is just really neat. And I love that it has function to it. It's not just there for the sake of being there and lighting up a room. There's function to it. Cameras are okay. We'll throw up a couple samples. It's the Unihertz camera. It does have the 20 megapixel night vision camera that was featured on the tank, which worked quite well. No issues with the camera. It is what it is. You're not going to buy this to really be a camera beast, but it does have a representative camera at least there. NFC, which is important to a lot of people, is available on this. Also, headphone jack, top-mounted headphone jack, and the IR blaster there you could see. So some old-school features available on this guy as well. And then you got the bottom, no micro SD card expandability. I know that's something that throws people off. I do believe it is dual SIM, though. So you pick that up in addition to not, in exchange for not having the micro SD. Overall, performance for your daily tasks is fine. Light gaming, like you can normally get on the G99, is fine. But you get the cool, unique design of it. It's just a neat phone to have in the hand. It's an eye catcher. It's a conversation starter. If you're looking for something different, if you're an enthusiast, if you're a fan of phones, you want something with some RGB on the back that's going to get the job done. The display is nice, 1080p, and it's a large 1080p display. But the panels that Unihertz have been buying from whoever, I don't know, I'm putting them on here, have been good. Quality panels, good saturation, good color. Liking it, no problems with that. So I've seen a lot worse panels on devices in this price range, and this one is certainly good, especially on the LCD side. No issues there. The 8 gigs is a step up, of course, for budget devices. I like the 8 gigs of RAM. Really aids performance, especially when you're talking about a more budget processor like a G99. Overall, I think it's worth it. You got to take a look at it. If you're looking for something, you got to be looking for something different, though. If you're looking for just a phone for the sake of a phone and you just want the Google, get yourself a Pixel 6a and you'll be fine, and you spend the same money and you're set for years. But if you're looking for something a little different, a little eye-catching, if you're bored of the same old phones in the sub $300 category, the Unihertz Luna certainly has a lot for you. If you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're going to do follow-ups on this one. Go more in-depth into the camera and some of the other usages of it. You have the programmable keys as well on the side here, but just a neat device. Till next time, have that Steve-licious.